Welcome, everybody. Our talk tonight is Awakening of Your Inner Healing Technology. I'm Michael Dalton, a practitioner and trainer in bioenergy healing. And tonight we're going to unravel technology in terms of the advancement and unfoldment of technology, and then also our inner healing technology, how to tap in, how to open up our inner healing technology. In bioenergy, we call it the internet. So it's our ability and capacity to tune into the inner energy, frequency, vibrations of what's happening to us physically and emotionally, empathically, and using this other, just as we have the internet to communicate, there's an internet that we're able to communicate and to use and tap into for healing. So thank you, everyone. A great number of people on tonight. And for those who are just on the audio and not video, thank you for tuning in. For those on the video, it's nice to see you. It's always nice to see some faces as we're talking. So it's nice to see heads nodding and stuff. I always enjoy that. Otherwise, it feels like I'm talking to myself. Now, in terms of our talk, I think at the end of the day, we generally like the advantage of technology. Like, what's the big advantage of technology? Technology is there to make our life easier, right? Like, as a species, as we evolve, technology evolves with us, right? Like, you can never stop technology evolving. It's just something that it does. You know, we don't have the same phone that we had when the mobile phone first came out. Do you remember? I mean, it started with the phones on the wall and people shared one phone line, and then it went to having your own phone in your home. And it was, you know, you had a phone that was on a lead, and then it ended up with a mobile phone at home, and then a car phone, and then we went into the phone where you could actually have an actual mobile phone. It looked like a bit of a brick. It was kind of pretty heavy. And then they got smaller and smaller, and then they got bigger and bigger again. So it's like everything goes full circle. And even to the point now where your phone is like a computer, you can do anything on your phone. And that's, folks, that's just technology. They're like coming into balance and harmony with health and well-being and healing is not about getting rid of technology. We never get rid of technology. Technology is always evolving, always advancing. What I want to share tonight is not only is technology evolving and advancing, but we have an inner healing technology, and we can kind of lose our connection with it when we're not taking time to build a relationship with it as such. So in terms of like the external technology, like I said, it's always advancing, it's always evolving, it's always changing. And I think the purpose of technology as such is to make our lives better. It's to bring us closer to each other. Look at tonight, like I'm speaking with someone in Australia last week from New Zealand, people from Calgary, from all over the place, right? And here we are using technology to bring us all closer together. And just as technology can bring us closer together to people who are further away, it can also move us further away from people who are close to us, right? You can be in a relationship with someone and be right with them, and you're on your phone and they're on their phone, and you're just like disconnected from each other, you know? So technology can bring us closer together, but it can also kind of push us apart as such, right? I was telling a story recently, excuse me, where I was in a restaurant and there was like at least 5 people at the table beside me, and all 5 people were on their phone. You know, and these 5 people are at a restaurant, and all of them are on their phone at the same time. And I'm just like, I thought it was so bizarre. And of course, I took out my phone to take a picture, you know, but it's like again, technology is wonderful and it can make our lives a lot better, but it can also like make our lives more challenging, more difficult, more disconnected. So in terms of healing, I think that sometimes if we're not like staying connected to our own ability and capacity to heal, and we move away from it, at a certain point we can reach where we've given up control altogether of our own health. We're relying and allowing on other sources outside of us to get ourselves healthy, to keep ourselves healthy. And so the journey of bioenergy healing that I've always shared with people is about understanding that there's a natural ability inside of us for us to heal ourselves, that our body is equipped with nature's technology. You know, nature is full of healing technology, from natural plants to, you know, here's a strange idea. I'm just going to share it, but a strange idea. If a person has a bit of land and they're living on the land, and they go and they pee on the land, right? They pee on their land, that over time, the land will determine what's missing from the person's diet and will grow plants that can be used to balance out that person's chemistry. Nature is magical and wonderful. You know, there's a doctor that said, you know, when someone leaves their house and they're walking to the doctor's office, that they're often walking by plants that are anti-inflammatory, and they're walking by those plants to get to the doctor's office to buy pills that are anti-inflammatory pills. And it's like, in so many ways, I mean, we don't even know what are the names of those plants that are anti-inflammatory. What are the foods that are anti-inflammatory? We've gone sometimes so far away from the natural things that it's easier just to take a pill. It's easier just to use the technology. It's easier than actually having sometimes just a conversation with someone. Sometimes like slowing down, connecting, listening to your body, communicating with your body. Hey, body, what's going on? And one of the things with that is that if we keep bypassing the communication with the body, if we keep like skipping what we're feeling, what we're experiencing, how we're communicating, and we keep going into the after effect, which is, oh, well, I'll just take a pill and get rid of the pain, you know, and we're not listening to what's happening in the body. If we keep removing that connection from the body, it's not uncommon that after a while people get illnesses and sicknesses. And, you know, a common thing that people say is, I don't know how I got this. I think that illness and sickness, like from 30 years of working with bioenergy, I think that people have just gone away from their body. They've left their body so much behind that there's a distance between them and their connection to their body. Now, you know, if you have your phone and you don't have a connection to the internet, the frustration that you feel, right? At the same time, we've in so many ways disconnected ourselves from our body, from our feelings, from our sensory perception, from our psychic ability, from our intuitive ability, from our healing abilities. We've disconnected ourselves from those in so many ways and for so long that we're so disconnected that most people don't even realize that they're disconnected, right? And so one of the things, just like the way we use TV in a lot of ways, like TV can be wonderful, it can be very entertaining, it can be very relaxing, but it's also like sometimes it's a distraction from us actually really connecting, communicating, and going inside ourselves. And so in the same way, technology can be wonderful, but it can also use up our time and energy, even though it's supposed to give us more time. It can sometimes use up our time disconnect us from the self, where we've stopped listening and communicating and establishing what I call is the internet. It's a connection to your inner self. And there's a communication that takes place between the body, the mind, and the spirit. And your body will communicate to you if you listen. If you come gently, respectively, and you slow down and you listen, your body will communicate to you. And it won't do it when you come and you sit down for 5 minutes in meditation and you say, speak to me, it's like, no, you kind of like, you can spend 23 hours and 50 minutes a day doing something else, and you'll only give me 10 minutes and then demand that I communicate to you. It's kind of like, in order for this communication, this connection to open up, we have to slow down. We have to establish trust and safety again. We have to come back to the body. And in the same way, I think this kind of like flows over into other things too. If you've lost a relationship, a connection with someone, you have to reestablish the communication. You have to like rebuild the relationship. And I think in some ways, I talk in terms of bioenergy as there's three relationships. There's the relationship with the self, there's a relationship with nature, and then there's our relationship with each other. And when we're in right relationship with the self, and we're in right relationship with nature, I think that we're automatically then in right relationship with each other. And coming back into that right relationship with the self, I find like a lot of people, they'll actually be out of right relationship with themselves, and they're out of right relationship with nature, and they're out of right relationship with each other. So all three relationships are often out of alignment. I often use the pendulum to, I have it right here. I often use the pendulum to show this kind of idea of alignment. And when the pendulum like stops all the doing and all the pushing and all the forcing and all the achieving, that in between all of it, there's a place where there's just balance. And that balance is also like our relationship with ourselves. When we're connected, when we're in alignment, and we have this internal internet connection. So not to be confused with the internet, but the inner net connection. So we're connected to what's happening inside of us, and we're able to hear the body communicating to us. This feels good. This does not feel good. And we can hear the difference between our body opening and expanding and closing and withdrawing. And if we aren't able to hear that, the body saying yes and the body saying no, if we're not able to hear that, then sometimes we'll keep doing things that is a no for us. And after a certain while, like your energy system, your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, it has to have an effect. If you keep doing things that you don't want to do, your body is not going to be fully happy, right? There's going to be an effect. And so nature is the most beautiful healer, right? Because when we're in harmony with nature, when we're in alignment, we're in harmony with nature, we're in harmony with ourselves, when that internet is turned on and we're intertwined, there's something beautiful about how, like, even when we go for walks in nature, around the trees, around the ocean, walking around the ocean is very good for your sacral chakra. It activates the water element. And then for people who need help with their sacral chakra, being around the ocean is really good. It's also really good for releasing a lot of emotions. So the water, the ocean, activates the water element in the sacral. So when people are processing a lot of emotions, anything from relationship stuff or family stuff. Walking by the ocean is really good to help process some of that emotion. Breathing in the fresh air by the ocean is also very good for lung issues, is very good for asthma. So fresh air, but fresh air by the ocean has a very special vibration that is really good for cleansing and purifying your lungs. And then when we're walking out by nature, when we're out by the trees, especially like pine and stuff, oak trees, when we're out in nature, the vibration of the trees start to raise and uplift and expand our energy. It starts to ground us. So, there's the connection for us to connect to our body, we haven't even gone into our own energy field yet, but just basically being in nature, being open, connecting to nature is really a great way for us to start slowing down and tuning back into our body, So, like I said, in terms of technology is wonderful, but let technology free up your time so that you can get out in nature, right? So let the car drive you to the forest if you don't live near the forest. Let the vehicle take you there. But it's like, it's about giving ourselves more time and space to do the things that we really want to do. If we keep advancing in the way technology, I think technology is going to keep advancing. It's not going to stop. But there's going to be people who are going to go down the path of technology so much that they'll just live in a virtual reality. They'll stop even eating food. They'll just take like special pills that give you all the nutrition you need, right? I mean, I don't know, personally, I love food. Like, I've even taught there's practices that you can do. It's called breatharianism. And I know it sounds a bit odd if you've never heard of it before, but it's a real thing where people, instead of eating food, you practice a certain type of breathing and you can actually live off the pranic energy. We're infinite powerful spiritual beings that can actually live off just pure light, pure energy. Now, with that said, I've done some practices like that, but I actually really love food. Now, in high levels of super high level states that I've experienced, I found like you don't actually even need to eat food when you reach a certain level of vibration. Your body just doesn't need it. But at the same time, it's so nice to eat food, to share food, to make food with love in it, and to share a meal. I mean, these are some of the most beautiful things there is, to go for a walk with someone in the forest, to be with another person, share a sunset, share a sunrise. It's like, these are the life experiences that make life, I think, really valuable, really important. I think it's great that we can do like healing through technology. We can do healing, I'm working on someone at the moment I'm living in Canada now, and I'm working on someone in London and England. And technology is great because it's allowing us to come together. Okay, we're not in person, but we're coming together and we're doing healing sessions each week from Canada to England. And it's really beautiful to be able to do that. Just like tonight, we have our Zoom and we're all together and everybody's in their own home and we're all able to connect. Technology is wonderful that way. But sometimes it's really beautiful when someone is not that far away, where you can, as a practitioner, you can be with the client and the two of you are standing in front of each other. And you're breathing together and you're doing a healing from your heart to another person. And it's just the two of you doing healing, where they're in their vulnerability, letting their anger, guilt, fear, shame, whatever it is, release. Physical pain, emotional pain, unravel, trauma release. And there's something really beautiful about being a witness to helping someone else heal. There's also beautiful things about like being in workshops and retreats where people come together. It's it's amazing now to do it in, on the internet, where you can be at home and run courses and be in anywhere in the world and do this. That side of technology is wonderful, but it's also really beautiful at times to be able to come together and to do stuff. So I think, in terms of maintaining it, as we move forward, there is a push with technology. There is a push with technology to go, to literally become technology. It's not so crazy to think that there will be a day where people, instead of wearing these Google glasses that work as computers, that they'll have chips in their eyes, where they'll have chips in their body. There's even, I know this sounds amazing, but there's a pill, you can take a pill now, and the pill has a micro nanotechnology in it. And when you take the pill, the acid in your stomach activates the battery in the nanotechnology, and it sends a signal back to a computer that lets the person know if you took the pill or not. I mean, the idea is that it would be good for people with mental health issues, or schizophrenia, where you might want to monitor, are they actually taking the pill, and has it actually reached their body? There can be advantages. And then at the same time, you can also see how technology is going to keep going, and pretty soon people won't even need a Visa card. They just scan their hand, and you're literally becoming technology, right? And I don't know, I think technology is wonderful, but I also think that it's okay to have a little pushback and say, look, I know for myself, some of my favorite moments in my life has been camping underneath the stars. No technology involved, just with a few friends underneath the stars and a campfire. And they're some of the most beautiful memories in my life, of just natural and raw in nature, and I think we have to find a balance, and maybe it's different for everybody, but ideally, I think there has to be a balance somewhere where technology helps us and supports us, but it doesn't take away from our humanness and our natural abilities. Jenny is saying hello from Mexico. She's by the ocean every day, and it's helping with the healing. Oh, that's great to hear, Jenny. There's something beautiful about the ocean, and of course, having the ocean in Mexico, where it's a little sunnier than Canada, is definitely nice. Yeah, glad to hear you're enjoying your vacation. Oh, there you are, Jenny. Good to see you. You're looking very glamorous in your pink there. So in terms of technology, like I say, if we're always looking outside ourselves towards even if it's pharmaceuticals, if it's you get sick and you're looking for pharmaceuticals to help, the more that you look outside, the more you focus on the pharmaceuticals, the more you keep participating in that. In some ways, the further we're coming away from our own natural technology. And I think look, I'm the first one to say, I think that medicine can be wonderful. Pharmaceuticals can be wonderful. Doctors and nurses are wonderful. I think that the system is really fucked up. I think that the system pulls us away from our natural ability. The system says, look, food doesn't influence health. That's the craziest thing in the world. Of course, the food that we're eating influences your health. If you're eating processed foods, you're destroying your insides. You're literally destroying the insides of your body with processed food. And then, processed food is destroying you, and then pharmaceuticals is maintaining that body that is falling apart. But coming back to more I kind of think of it as come back to like natural food. What's natural food? Single ingredients foods, right? A potato is a potato, right? It's just a potato, you know. An apple is an apple. And of course, now we're dealing with pesticides and all the stuff that is sprayed on the food, right? So now it's like, can we eat an apple without a layer of wax on it? Can we have blueberries without them being sprayed up to 3 times before we actually get them? So, you know, there is, if we just eat like real food, we're really helping to sustain the body. Like, it's one of them, there's a few simple things when it comes to healing, right? And we haven't even gotten into working on your biofield, working on your energy and your chakras yet. This is just the basics. The basic stuff is eating real food is good for your body. And that's not anything that we don't know. I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. But every time we put food into our body that's full of pesticides, that is processed, we're putting toxins into our body that is killing our body from the inside out, right? That's what we're doing. And if you're thinking like, well, the food industry is looking after me, they're really not. No, the food industry, like the pharmaceutical industry, is out to sell, sell, sell. You have to be in charge of what you eat. No one else is in charge of what you eat, because you're putting the food in your mouth, right? And one of the things is, see, I know when I grew up, my parents would say, look, go out to the back garden, grab a head of cabbage for the dinner, right? Like you would go to your garden and you would get vegetables, and then you would eat it that same day in your dinner. And we didn't call it organic garden. We didn't call it organic food. It was assumed. It was assumed that if you're growing your own food, that it's food, that it's healthy, that it's natural, that it's organic. Now you go to buy something organic and it's like there's gold lights and things flying around it, and the price is triple, and it's like it's on a special shelf with green banters that says organic, 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 and you kind of walk by it without looking because it's so pricey, right? Like, you're like, oh, you know. But in terms of like, you know, have we come so far away from growing our own food that, you know, I think the next generation of kids aren't even going to know where food comes from, right? Like, they're, you know, they won't have picked an apple off a tree. They won't have milked a cow. You know, like when I was young, I got to milk a cow. You know, I saw where milk comes from, right? I picked apples from trees. Like, are we going so far away from that kids think, well, food comes from the grocery store? Well, no, it doesn't. That's the in-between. But how far is technology advancing so much that we're skipping our relationship to how we're eating and where food comes from? Are we skipping our relationship with people and each other? Because in all honesty, we don't even have to spend time together. We could just spend our time all day on the phone, right? Like, you can speak to people, you can do your work, you can do everything through the phone, right? Like, you can do everything through the computer. So there isn't the same need for us anymore to have to meet up and to have to connect and to have to communicate. Maybe in the future, it's going to be harder for children to even communicate because they don't have to look in your eyes when they're talking anymore, right? They're looking down at the phone when they're talking to their friends, right? They're communicating through their phone. So they're not even developing the eye contact, the communication skills. And so as we start to like really find the balance between nature and technology, we have to kind of like also educate and bring the kids back into like conversations with eye contact, and also without masks. You're looking at the last like 2-3 years of young babies looking at their parents with masks on. That's crazy. Those first few years of development is where a child connects with their parent. It's imprinting, just like an animal. like imprints on their parent. You know, babies imprint with their parents, and they pick up so many cues from facial communication. And we've had this huge breakdown of communication with all of these masks that people have been wearing. That's another whole conversation. As you can assume, I'm not really into the whole mask thing. I think that our capacity and our ability to breathe is a God-given right, that we should breathe fresh air. I don't know, in the very beginning of COVID, I saw someone going by. I was at the ocean, I was sitting on a rock, and someone was going by in a canoe, and they were wearing a mask, and they were on their own. They were out in a canoe, in the ocean, on their own, wearing a mask. And I thought to myself, what the fuck? Like, people are putting their head in the sand. Like, people have stopped critical thinking. And there's a point where if we stop thinking for ourselves, there's a point where we stop thinking altogether. There's a point where, you know, people can say anything to us and we believe it, and we just stop critically thinking for ourselves. And my goal tonight is not to like go into the whole pandemic thing, but only insofar as, like, when we think for ourselves, you're looking out at the world and you're making decisions and you're making perceptions based on what you're experiencing, not on what you're being told. What you see, what you feel, what you experience, and you have a capacity for critical thinking that is inside of you, that is you as a human being, your ability and your right to choose and think for yourself. And in so many ways, like, technology, as I said, can be wonderful, but technology is even like media is telling us what to think, how to think, what way to think about certain things. And if we don't find the balance, if we don't find that balance, right, that technology, media can use technology to really stop us thinking for ourselves. Now, why is this all important? Because just as we think for ourselves, we can also heal for ourselves. We have the ability and the capacity to heal from the inside out. Healing is our birthright. It's like, just as nature, you know, maybe we get ill, maybe we get sick, and maybe that's part of life, and maybe there's no way to stop that. Maybe that's just part of life. But just as nature, you know, has given us this amazing human body and this ability to feel and experience life. And, you know, there's stress in life, right? Like, no matter what you do, there's going to be stress. If you're in a job, it can be stressful. If you're not in a job, it can be stressful. If you're in a relationship, it can be stressful. If you're not in a relationship, it can be stressful. If you have no money, it's stressful. If you have money, it could be stressful. No matter what you do, there's going to be stress. You know, if you're sick, that's stressful. If you're worried about getting sick, that's stressful. If you're healthy, you know, you can have stress associated with anything, right? But just as nature gives us life experience, she also gives us the ability to come back to balance. She also gives us the ability to heal from the inside out. Not using, now maybe nature gives people the ideas to create technology, and technology is used for healing, and, you know, full cycle, right? Like I said, pharmaceuticals can be great and can help people in certain ways. Operations can help people. Surgery can help people. All of these things have a place, absolutely. But sometimes we've gone so far with them that now we're even disconnecting and losing our own natural ability to heal. And my work in bioenergy has been to re-educate people back to their capacity to heal from the inside out, to tap into your natural healing ability. And my concern is that if we stop using our natural healing ability, like as individuals, like the more you stop using your natural healing ability, you lose it. Like after a while, you lose your ability to heal yourself. if you go so far away from it. If you keep relying on things outside of yourself, after a while, you won't even know how to heal yourself anymore, right? So we can sometimes come so far away from listening to the body, communicating with the body, listening to nature and healing, and we rely so much on technology that after a while we might not be able to come back from that. So what I can, I guess, conceive or perceive is that life is going to keep evolving, technology is going to keep advancing, but we have a choice, and the choice is to tune in to our inner wisdom, our inner knowledge, and to develop as the world go through its next stage of evolution, that we also have a choice to develop our inner technology, to develop our natural psychic ability, to develop our natural healing ability. That just as technology advances, it's okay for the nature, the technology within us, for us to put time and energy and effort into developing our inner technology. And I think it's really important as the work continues to progress that our inner technology and the outer technology are both advancing. Because if one advances without the other, I think we move out of an ecosystem and we move into an ecosystem. And I think that as we continue down the ecosystem, it's a path of self-destruction. And we have this like the yin and yang, right? The balance. The balance is we must find the balance between nature and technology. Now, nature is also a technology. Nature is technology. So it's just maybe easier to say when we think of nature as like nature is the trees, the plants, the sun, the elements, right? Earth, water, fire, air. So everything is made up of the elements, right? So our bodies are made up of earth, water, fire, air. If we didn't have water, we die. If we didn't have earth, our bones and stuff, we die. If we didn't have fire, which is our heating system, we die. When you think of someone who dies, they get really cold, right? Rigor mortis sets in, so movement stops, their body goes cold. So we have a heating system in the body, which is the fire energy. We've got the movement of water and fluids through the body, which is the water element. We have the earth element, which is the bones and muscles and the skin, all of the physical aspect of the body. And we've got the air element, which is the lungs, right? Without, hold your breath and see how long you last, right? We need to breathe. We need the air element in order to function. So we have the four major like elements, earth, water, fire, air, that make up the body. And that's a technology. Like those elements are a technology. We can come to the elements of nature and we can connect with those elements and we can ask the elements to teach us. And nature, through her intrinsic wisdom, can communicate to us and can translate wisdom of the eons, of the ages of our ancestors. She can pass the wisdom and the knowledge to us through the elements. And in terms of this, kind of leads me now back to bioenergy. When I was I mean, it goes like maybe 30 years ago now, when I first got into bioenergy, I had gone down the medical route. I had asthma and eczema, and I was using inhalers. I was using creams for the eczema. I was using steroid creams. I was using inhalers for the asthma, preventive inhalers, and also other inhalers. And so I was doing the whole medical system. So what medicine had available. And over the years, it helped relieve the symptoms a little bit, but not too much. But the symptoms were still there, and years were going by and I was still sick. And I was studying mechanical engineering and I was having the medical treatment, and I still had the symptoms of the asthma and eczema And despite like using the medicine that was available. And then I like came across bioenergy. And you know, I've said this in previous talks. I've said, like, the first time I saw it, I thought it was crazy. People waving their hands around, saying they're doing healing, and then other people moving as, you know, it's like someone is pulling the person without touching them, and the person's moving, and people are saying they feel energy and they feel things moving through their body, and their pain is disappearing, and the eczema clears up. And of course I thought, well, it sounds fantastic, but I mean, it's, you know, our left brain thinking is so like, but you know, things work a certain way and they don't work another way. And you know, but I really wanted to try it, because I was like, well, look, if I do it and it doesn't work, I haven't lost anything. But what if it actually works? And when I kind of get into bioenergy, after I had 4 treatments, and both my asthma and eczema were gone. And so the first thing I got to experience was that, I'm going to say, there was another technology, a technology that this people that were using, a bioenergy healing technology, a technology that I didn't know about, a technology that the doctors who had treated me for years did not know about. I had a family doctor. We had a family doctor for years, you know, back in the day when people actually had like a family doctor, and this is our doctor. And I remember asking the family doctor about bioenergy, and he's like, I've never heard anything about it. Stay away from it. You know, doesn't do anything. It's just placebo. And that was the kind of take, you know, and but lo and behold, like, despite the best efforts from my family doctor, I still had my asthma, I still had eczema. And after 4 treatments, without like this weird energetic technology that these people were using, my asthma and eczema disappeared. And I realized, like, there's another technology that, you know, I want to know what that technology is. I want to know how to access it, how to use it. No, I've come up with the term that I call it. I've seen other people use it now a lot, but I kind of first coined the term like the internet. And the internet meaning that there's a technology and energy, a communication that takes place inside of us. And our physical body is not just limited to the physical body that we see, but there's an energy body around us. And that energy body is called the biofield. And it's made up of 7 major electrical points in the body called chakras that correspond to the 7 major glands of the body. And so these electrical energy points in the body also have a magnetic field around them. So the electrical field has a magnetic field. And so there's this electromagnetic field around the body. And the technology that the people were using they were manipulating the electromagnetic field of the body. And by manipulating the electromagnetic field, it was causing accelerated healing in the body. Now, 2 things were happening. One, things that weren't healing were healing. So things that, like, ailments that people had that would not heal, when they were getting their energy field, their biofield manipulated, suddenly things that weren't healing were healing. The technology that they were using with their hands, which was this waving around, it was a technology that was communicating to the physical body to correct itself. So I was fascinated by this as an engineer. I was like, what is this technology? How is this working without a pill, without a pharmaceutical, without a cream, without an inhaler, you know, without an operation, without surgery? How is this affecting the body? How is it balancing out the chemical system, right? Like, we're using pharmaceuticals to balance out the chemical system. What magical, mysterious technology is balancing out someone's chemical system without using pharmaceuticals? You know, and so I after I got better with the asthma and eczema, I just couldn't walk away. I couldn't like, okay, that's great. I'm better now. Thanks very much. And walk away. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I literally was like, everybody needs to know about this. Everybody needs to know about this technology. So that's why I say, when I say to you, like the old dial-up internet, and someone comes along and is showing people Wi-Fi, you know, people with the dial-up internet are laughing at the person that's showing them Wi-Fi, because they're like, oh, well, that's ridiculous. You can't get technology moving without like wires. And, you know, when the person is trying to show people Wi-Fi and people are still on dial-up, there's this disconnection between people being able to understand what is actually being offered. And so for me, this is like my journey in the last 30 years has been trying to help people and educate people that there is a technology available to us, high-speed Wi-Fi of healing, the Olympics of healing, that is available to every single person, that it's a natural healing ability that is inside of us. And when we open up to that natural ability, when we work with the biofield and the chakras, we activate that, we bring the internet online, and we access, using the bioenergy technology, we access the healing of the body, and we get the body to heal where it's not healing. And then where it is healing, we accelerate the healing. So where sometimes things do heal by themselves, right? So think of healing, right? At the end of the day, there's you, your human person, right? This is you, your being. And you cut yourself, you cut your body. Who heals that cut? Where does the healing come from? You cut yourself, who heals it? Right? That would be you, right? It's you. You heal yourself. When you cut yourself, you heal yourself. When you bruise yourself, you walk into a table and you bang your knee and there's a big black and blue and yellow bruise on it and a big lump, right? Who heals it, right? Who heals it? You do, right? Now you break a bone. You fall out of your car door and you fall on the ground and you land on your leg and you unfortunately break your leg. Who heals it? Who heals your broken leg? And this is important, folks, because we've forgotten who does the healing. You know, when I was a kid, I used to think the doctor did the healing, right? I used to think that the doctor, you know, that the magical cast that the doctor put on the leg, that was healing the leg. You know, as you get older and you realize, like, the cast, the doctor sets the leg, right? The doctor, the physio, they set the leg. And then the cast is to just simply hold the leg in place while the leg does what? While it heals itself, right? While it, listen to what we're saying, while it heals itself, right? Now, in bioenergy, one of the things that I often teach is that the body's ability to heal itself. The body has this phenomenal regenerative ability, and it's not something that a lot of people like learn or, you know, learn about, but your body has this phenomenal ability to heal itself. So much so that in less than a year, 98% of the cells in your body are replaced every year. 98% of the cells in your body. And that's through radioactive isotope studies that they can trace the movement of cells through your body. And they say that 98% of the cells in your body weren't there last year. And the reason they say 98% and not 100% It's just purely statistically, they always say, well, there's a possibility that not every cell replaces within that year. But generally, when they say 98, it's based on the fact that 100% of your body is regenerating year after year. Just that concept alone, right? Just being aware of that is enough to start upgrading your consciousness. You want to upgrade your technology, learn about what your body is capable of doing. Every time you educate yourself, when people say, you know, I'm taking a healing workshop, or I'm taking a personal development workshop, or I'm doing a course, you know, I'm doing some self-care. That is never a waste. Anytime you do healing, anytime you do self-care, anytime you do workshops, anytime you invest back in your health and well-being, it's a huge investment back to you. Every book that you read on health and well-being, it gets into your consciousness, right? If you don't educate yourself based on what your body is capable of, the world will educate you on what your body is not able to do. Isn't it true? People love to tell you what you can't do, right? Oh, you tore your ligaments. Oh, you'll always have problems with that. Oh, yeah, that's not good. Yeah, you'll need surgery, you know. Yeah, that's not good, you know. Oh, cancer. Oh, I know someone with cancer. They didn't survive. You know, every time we talk about something, people love to tell us like, oh, that's not good. You know, every communication we have, there's always like this kind of wave that comes at us that tells us you're not able to. My concern is that if we don't remember that we're able to heal, if we don't remind ourselves that we can heal, that we can put healing back in our hands, that we can heal our bodies, that we can communicate, that we have a technology that nature gave us to heal. If we don't develop and advance that technology, if we lose our relationship to nature's technology, our biofield, our energy, our chakras, and we replace all of that with drugs that have nanotechnology inside us, where we don't even have to do stuff anymore, it's all computerized, we lose our humanness, we lose something in us that is real and alive. And so we've got to return back to that nature inside of us. We got to remember who we are and what we're capable of. I often think of like the human being, right? Like the human being is like this beautiful, magical, powerful spiritual being with a little physical body. It's not the other way around. It's not that we have this body and we have spirit inside of us. You know, that's maybe a Saturday night, you have a few spirits inside of you, you know, some vodka, but or whiskey. But in terms of like our beingness, we are like, we're not just the internet. We are source code. We are source code, full fractal light consciousness. And the human being has a capacity and ability to regenerate itself in less than a year. A woman can have a baby grow inside of her in 9 months, right? Now, most of that development of a baby takes place in the first 12 to 14 weeks. All the organs, new liver, lungs, heart, brain, blood, bones, liver, kidneys, all of that is developed in roughly the first 12 to 14 weeks. Definitely by first 20 weeks, the baby's fully developed inside the mother. You know, or am I supposed to say father now as well? But I don't know. That's another story. Maybe I shouldn't have brought that up. Okay. moving on quickly. But in terms of the mother having a baby inside of her, that as this baby, this capacity to grow a baby inside of you, and then the rest of that time is the baby growing into its full size before the mother gives birth. But in terms of a mother has the ability to have a baby grow inside of her. But yes, she's told you can't get rid of your migraines. You can't get rid of your back pain. You can't get rid of arthritis. Where does healing come from? Remember where healing comes from. You cut yourself, healing comes from the inside. You bruise yourself, healing comes from the inside. You break a bone, healing comes from the inside, you know. But if you get arthritis, you get back pain, you get asthma, you get eczema, healing comes through pharmaceuticals. Really? Suddenly it changes, right? Somewhere along the road, we've come away from our natural technology. My work, my invitation is come back to your natural technology. Awaken the healing technology inside of you. Remember who you are and what you're capable of, and put your health back in your hands. And absolutely, doctors, pharmaceuticals, medicine has a role to play, but sometimes we're given the role away before we take charge of the role, before we take responsibility for our health. And if we, just like with our diet, if you give the responsibility for what you're eating to corporations, you're going to be eating bugs, right? You're going to end up eating cardboard bugs, you know. You're just going to be eating just pure sugar, right? Sugar is the cocaine of food, right? So we've got to return, we got to find the balance. And like I said, it's not about getting rid of technology, and technology is wonderful. We're using technology right now, right? But it's also to find the balance, right? So what's that balance? Well, we're not just physical beings. We're energetic beings. We are energy, pure, vibrating, life force energy. We are energetic beings. And we're not just emotions and mental energy, we're vibratory, electrical, and magnetic beings, where the physical body is 10% of us. And there's another 90% all around us, our electromagnetic body. We're powerful electromagnetic beings. I mentioned this before. You've got roughly 70 trillion cells in your body, and each cell has roughly 1.17 volts of electrical potential. You could light the whole city of Vancouver with just your body. We're powerful electrical beings. And our consciousness, when we stop thinking in terms of us healing, when we close down our consciousness and we give our power away, and we stop thinking in terms of our capacity to heal ourselves, then we limit that vibratory, full fractal light consciousness coming into our body, and we channel it into limitation. We channel it into what we're not able to do. But when we return and we open the crown chakra, we open back up to our potential, not only can the body heal itself of cuts and bruises and broken bones, the body can heal itself of arthritis, of back pain, of migraine, of chronic fatigue, of multiple sclerosis. And if you catch it early enough, the body can heal itself of most cancers. The body has that ability. And there's people who have healed from every single possible condition. You know, there's people who've recovered from AIDS. There's doctors that talk about people that recovered from AIDS before people knew it was incurable. after people knew it was incurable, they stopped recovering from it. Sometimes we get so educated that we get in our own way, right? And so now, what's one of the advantages of technology? Maybe the advantage of technology now is that we can come together and communicate, and that we can share our ideas and share our wisdom and share what we know, and that we can awaken the healer inside of us again, that we can awaken natural healing, our natural abilities. And it's not just healing, it's our capacity to communicate, to bring back online our ability to communicate telepathically. Now that sounds very far-fetched, but there isn't a person here who hasn't experienced telepathy at some level, where, you know, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, you both say the same thing at the same time. You know, you're reading each other's electromagnetic energy, your thought field, your emotional field. You can go into a room with people and you can tell how people feel. You're able to communicate on a level that you don't just have to ask someone how they feel. So you can ask someone how they feel, they can tell you, and you can know that it's not true. You can know that they're telling you everything's okay, but you feel that they're not okay. And I guarantee you're right, because we're not just physical beings. We're powerful, empathic beings. Empathic meaning we have the ability to communicate to each other without verbal words, right? We can communicate non-verbally. I mean, there's a whole language called body language. We can communicate with our body without actually speaking, right? But it's more than that. Not only can we communicate with our body, we can communicate our feelings, we can communicate our thoughts, and we can pick up on each other's thoughts and feelings. And especially like if, you know, especially like a mother and her child, a mother can tell when her child is upset just by how they walk into the house. It's like their energy comes in, and the mother knows there's something wrong with the child just by the energy that they give off, right? And people have the capacity like to feel and communicate in these ways. So just as technology is advancing, there is another technology, the technology of the chakras, the technology of the human spirit, the human being. It's the internet, it's the inner healing, it's the inner communication. Now, as we go down to the root chakra gives us our connection to the earth, to the trees, to the land. It's the earth element. And so when we feel grounded and connected and we're healed in the root chakra, we really come back into harmony and balance with the earth. When we're connected and grounded in the sacral chakra, the water element, when the water comes into balance, we come back into harmony with our emotions. Like there's people who, you can have a trauma happen to you, right? You could have a trauma from 20 years ago. And if that emotion hasn't been healed, and there's no drug that's going to penetrate, there's no pharmaceutical drug that's going to penetrate an emotional trauma that you had 20 years ago, right? That emotion needs to be accessed by the inner human being. You need to go inside and you need to feel that emotion and release that trauma. And when that's not released, people don't wake up one day and they're sick. That trauma is eaten away at someone for years. The body is so fucking amazing that no matter what you do, the body's going to try its best to keep you healthy. Your body is designed to keep coming back to health, to keep trying to get you healthy. And if you like don't release your trauma and don't release the stuck emotion, and you stay angry and upset and shame and guilt and fear and all these things, then the nature has given us another technology where we can come together and we can work together through natural energy healing, and we can help each other release our stuff. So like that's what I discovered like 30 years ago, when I said that these people were using their hands, literally their hands, as a healing technology to communicate with each other, to take pain away, to release trapped emotion, and to free up the electromagnetic energy in the body that was getting blocked, that was going offline. Because when your energy system goes offline and you stop communicating your body, your mind, and your spirit, so that's the holistic health. When your body, mind, spirit stops communicating together and you come offline, the body breaks down. Boom. Wow, I can't believe it's 10 past, so we've gone over our hour, so we're going to finish off. Stay online with me for a few moments, and we'll have a bit of a question and answers, or even just a hello chat at the end of this. So we'll stop recording in just a moment, and please stay on and we can have a chat. But in terms of, I hope that you've enjoyed this chat tonight. We're talking about technology. We're talking about you have a healing technology inside of you. Bioenergy is a practice in which you're tapping into your natural healing technology. You're using that healing for yourself, for other people, for animals, for your pets. I mean, I even use it on my plants. People say your plants look amazing. How are your plants so amazing? I do bioenergy on them. And it's a technology that you can convert for animals. You can convert it to plants, but you can use it on yourself. And if you really take the time to learn it, it's not just a case of like watch a video. Like you might see a video of me doing bioenergy and you're like, oh, I'm going to do some bioenergy, blah, blah, blah. I'll do some of this. It's a technology that if you put the time, the energy, and the effort in, and you learn it, you have to earn it though, right? It's just like martial arts, right? You can't go along to martial arts and expect to be a martial artist without earning it. You have to train. You need dedication and commitment. I've studied martial arts for over 20 years, and you got to like earn it. You got to like practice and develop and practice and develop and practice and develop. And healing is the same. It's not enough just to like, oh, I just saw something, I'm going to repeat it. But if you're willing to earn it, if you're willing to make it just even a part of your life, the reward that it gives back to you is unbelievable. It will give you so much more than the effort that you put in. The effort that you put into learning healing, to studying healing, the money that you pay to learn, like I think of it as healing is a free technology. It literally is a free technology. What you're paying for is the learning of it. You're paying to learn that technology. You're paying to get good at it really quickly in a really effective way from professional people who've taken the time and the energy and years of commitment and dedication and mastery of their practice. Like you wouldn't go to someone to learn martial arts who has no background or experience, because at the end of it, what are you going to learn? In the same with healing, like people say, oh, I taught myself healing. That's great. If it's working for you, brilliant. I wouldn't knock it. If you're doing healing yourself and you taught yourself and it's working for you, brilliant. But in terms of like, if you're working on people and you feel drained, you feel tired, you're picking up their ailments, then there's stuff that you don't know. And that's the difference between professional training. Yeah, you're paying for it, but you're earning it. You're earning your ability to work with other people, to be able to treat any condition, any illness, any sickness, to be able to help people get well, and to develop that ability and that capacity. And whether you have that as something that you just want to do part-time, something that you just want for yourself or your family and your friends, or whether you just feel like, maybe you want to get out of your job and change your career and you want to learn healing and help people, I mean, there's never a time in the world where we need more healers than right now. The world is fucking crazy, right? I don't think it's going to suddenly get better. I think that we have to make it better. We have to be the change. We have to remember that, you know, coming together and supporting and loving and helping each other is what will heal each other. We have to remember that we have the technology to heal ourselves and others, right? And the other technology should be to free up our time so that we can spend more time together, to free up us from having to work to earn money, Technology should free us up so that we can have more time in nature, more time with our loved ones, more time to grow the food that we get to eat ourselves. That's what technology should give us. Technology shouldn't produce our food. Technology should free up our time so that we can grow our own food in our own gardens and make it with our own hands. Unprocessed, made with love, nourishing our body. Anyway, I can go on forever. But I hope that you've enjoyed our talk tonight. We have a level 1 coming up in March, 11 and 12, level 1 bioenergy. We have a level 2 coming up in May, 18 classes on a Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. That's coming up in May. There's 30% off for this year for my 30th year of doing bioenergy. So check out our courses. We also have a level 3 coming up in Mexico. Wink, wink. Maria, Olga, Colin, Alicia, wink, wink, level 3, Mexico, just putting it out there. But in terms of our training, please check out the website, daltonsbio.com. That's DALTONSBIO.com, daltonsbio.com. Check out our courses and make an investment in yourself, in your own health, and your own well-being, and it'll be the best thing you've ever done. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. If you're here in person, stay online, and otherwise, thank you for tuning in.